It's like a time capsule, yeah. I mean, there's the scene where he does the Pepsi commercial, and it was the Ray Charles. You got the
Yes, I
right
was
one.
thinking that earlier.
Yeah. Love it, though. Like, it's so dated, but I love it. Hello. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We will put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past with our modern eyes to see if they're good and Grandma approves. And I'm your host, Isaac. Pitcher's got a big butt. Who's considering the classic baseball movie Rookie of the Year?
This is Seth. Club soda, babe.
Oh, and welcome everyone to Grandma's House. How you doing?
I'm really good today. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. It is baseball season, and we're considering a baseball movie. It's just kind of goes hand in hand. So I'm really excited. We've talked about doing this episode like a lot of the films that we've covered, but we left this up to the listeners. And you, the listener, chose this film. So thank you for that. And if you are wanting to get up to date with our polls, because we put them out each week and let you guys decide what film we're going to consider, be sure you're subscribed. So be sure you hit that button, smash that like if you don't mind while you're at it. And that way you'll be up to date and we want to hear your voice. So be sure you check that out. Get your vote in when those come out. And as a warning, this is going into spoiler territory. So consider yourself warned from here on out. But like we mentioned, we are considering the movie Rookie of the Year. This came out on July 7th, 1993. It had a budget of 10 to about 14 million. And the box office, it was a pretty good, favorable there. It's 56.5 million. And just looking around at some reviews, IMDb has it at a 6.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has it about 41%. I see Google users, that's more of the users, not the critics, have it at about a 71%. So that's just kind of a quick glance at it. Over 30 years ago, this movie came out in 1993. So I'm interested, what are some of your first memories with this film?
So I remember when this was new. It really hit home with me because, like I've mentioned, growing up, we had a baseball field in the backyard. I said basketball field. Oh, my goodness. I wanted to be a pitcher for many years, and for a while I had a good arm. So this movie resonates quite well.
Awesome. I love baseball. I was with you. I just would play in my backyard. I had a tennis ball that I would throw against my shed, and I would act like that's a ground ball. And then I'd throw it again, like I was throwing it to first, and then the ball. I mean, I had a whole system laid out. I could play baseball all day. And this just absolutely hit on all the notes. It's a kid's movie. It's a kid who is playing on a major league baseball team. I just thought that was so cool and thought it was hilarious. There's still quotes to this day that gives it away that I've enjoyed this for many years, but I still quote from time to time. I catch myself. So those are kind of when I think back on it. This was probably on the regular rotation of movies that I would watch. But with that, all that, still, what was your expectations going back on the rewatch?
Short and simple. So enjoy the show and get ready to laugh.
That's it. My kids love baseball too. That's something that I find a lot of fun, is being able to play baseball with them. Now I'm playing in the backyard with my kids. So this is, again, it's something I'm like, they should love this movie. So I was like, I want to see their reaction. But again, it's baseball season. It's a great time to pull out this movie, watch it, even if it's for the first time. So I was just like you. It's like, let's just enjoy this fun baseball movie for the family. Well, before we get to our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors. Love movies as much as we do? Bring the experience of the big screen to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into classics, blockbusters, or indie gems, they've got something for every film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can get 15% off your order now. Just use code Grandma's House 15 at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right. So let's take the VHS out of the cover. Let's put it in the VCR and press play.
When Henry breaks his arm, his tendons heal too tight, giving him the ability to throw at high speeds. Soon, he's picked up by the Chicago Cubs organization and pitches in the big leagues. In this early 90s classic, we see how fame and money are no match for friends and family. Sit back, grab a cookie or two, and enjoy.
Yes. Get your snacks for this one. This is such a fun movie. I'm not going to hold anything back. This is just a fun... I love the premise. That's what kind of sticks out to me is this is a unique story. As much as there are some wacky things, I think back in the 90s, certain movies would kind of have these outrageous, like, what? Is that really possible? But it makes it believable. I don't know. That's just me. But what are your first impressions when you're watching this?
So this movie, well, it might be my nostalgia talking, but it felt really like it really held up. The writing, acting, and directing were amazing.
I agree. And I love that it shows up. I'm just like, I can't believe that. I just didn't know it at the time. But Daniel Stern directed this movie, and he's obviously in it. I don't want to go any further than that because that might be some fun facts you have. But I just love that he's the writer, director, contributor, and he's a big chunk of the comic relief in this movie. It's just great. But getting back to the premise, I mean, what'd you think of this idea that this kid, breaks his arm and it heals up to where he's able to throw it just unbelievably fast? What did you think of that?
So like you mentioned, it's unreal, but this movie is hysterical and well written. I love seeing how everything isn't sunshine and roses, because there's ups and downs in his life.
Yeah, that's another thing. Also, you think about the dynamic. His father isn't there. His mother is now dating someone else. And we'll get into the characters and all that because there's lots to be said about who she's dating, I think. We might touch on it here and there. But yeah, that it makes it believable. As much as you said, it's unbelievable because I don't know. Did you ever look up? I got curious one time. There's the scene where he first realizes he's able to throw it really far. He's up in the stands and he's throwing it from right field all the way to home. Did you look up how fast he would have had to have thrown that to get it that far?
I don't recall, but I would imagine it's got to be over 100. Yeah.
Yeah. So like later on when they realize he's got this special arm, they clock him throwing over 100. It's like 101, 103. And that's still reasonable for like a major leaguer nowadays, especially. But I got curious. I was just like, I wonder because he's throwing it 435 feet to home plate. They said that to throw it like it was just a straight line, it would have to be 150 miles an hour.
Well, yeah. And if you're following the premise of the movie, though, that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities because it was his first time actually using the ability. It might have been tighter.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It is unrealistic, but
yeah.
It for what the premise is, you can believe
Yeah.
it. It's just making it believable. It's not that, yes, it is true and accurate, but he also, like, I always thought, okay, when he's a pitcher, he's aiming at, from the mound to home plate. They tell him throw the ball back. So he's probably throwing it as hard as he can when he's doing that. So is it believable? No, but it works, I guess. But I just thought that was funny. That's a little fun fact I'll throw out there. I'm going to try not to take any of yours, but that was one I was like, I've got to figure this out because now I'm an adult. That's something as a kid I didn't think about. But yeah, but that's pretty much the premise. It's just a fun story of, especially like as a kid, like I love the story. But what did you think of the characters? There's a lot of characters in this one.
We can dive into the characters. I mean, really dive in if you want. But I had written down that Henry, his mother, and Chet stole the show. His friends were really great, and they did really well. And the acting was well done, and the script was just amazing. But I want to add to that Daniel Stern's acting in this movie was hysterical. I mean, like you can expound upon that if you want to, but his scenes were amazing.
Yeah. This might be a fun fact, so stop me if I go any
Oh, you're
further
fine. You're fine.
about Daniel Stern, because I think he's hilarious. So I'm right there with you. Like him in any scene in this movie, he's hilarious. And what had happened was he was going to direct, but the studio said, "You're a big name. You need to be in this picture." So he wrote that character in. The problem was he was directing. So if you notice, it's hilarious. It's so genius to me. So he's like, "Well, I'm directing. That's a lot of things to juggle." So he purposely wrote his character to constantly get trapped and stuck in places so he wouldn't be filmed. I was like, that's genius. Yes, it's just genius. I was like, that is amazing. And it works so well because that's his character. I love that. So I completely agree. I love when
I'm,
he's in there.
I'm glad you brought that out because I did a lot of research for this film and I've watched it countless times. And I did not think of that. That's really awesome.
I didn't either. It just happened to stumbled across it. He came out with some kind of like biography memoir, and I guess that's where he brought that out. So it's not something you find, but I was so glad I came across that because it makes me appreciate Daniel Stern even more. He's just hilarious to me. But yeah, you see that throughout this film, the comedy, his writing, he's got his fingerprints on it. As much as, again, he's trapped in places, his character is throughout this film. You kind of wish he was in more scenes, but even when he's not there, there's still other characters that are hilarious. Yeah, what'd you think of, so the main character with Henry, what'd you think of his character?
I actually thought his acting was really strong. I forget his name at the moment. His acting was really strong for such a young child. He had a lot of weight on his shoulders in this movie and unbelievable theory of the premise of a movie. And he carried it well. And to me, it was shockingly good. I want to hear what you think of some of the characters. I mean, they're real characters for sure.
That's what is a big strength of this movie. I love the plot, but yeah, the characters goes right with it. Thomas Ian Nicholas is the actor's name who played Henry, and he's kind of been in little roles here and there, but this was his breakout, I think, big role.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's great. He, I guess, was at the age of puberty, so if you notice, like his voice cracks at times, but that makes it realistic. So go along with it. I think he's a terrific, choice to be this character. He fit in perfectly. I think the mom, like you said, she's hilarious. She's that supporting mother, but she's also that cool mom. I mean, his friends kind of comment on that at times. And yeah, Gary Busey is definitely an interesting guy. I don't know if you've seen some interviews with him, but I dare to say this is one of his best roles. As much as you wouldn't think like this kind of a movie, but he nails it. He's actually on the dramatic side. And this movie has its cheesy moments. I'm not going to sit here and say this is Citizen Kane or something, but it's still heartwarming. It's got those key moments you want in a movie, especially a family movie. But he nails it. I can't say enough about that. I wouldn't think I would say that about Gary Busey. Not that I dislike him, but he's just an interesting guy. The character he plays in this movie is not what you would expect, but he is actually kind of believable as that pitcher in my mind. Like he's that washed up pitcher, and his grunts are just memorable. I just find myself like, yeah. He does such a good job with that, like, but it's believable. It makes you feel his pain. I think that I actually feel it with him a little bit when he's throwing. And the manager is hilarious. He butchers his name throughout the movie, and that's a running gag. I love that. What'd you think about him or any other characters too? I want to keep hearing. There's so many characters to consider.
I thought the coach was great, manager or whatever. He really brought home a lot of like grounding of the scenes, I feel like, and the comedy was good too. But I feel like he kind of made scenes have a little weight to them a little bit. And I really appreciated the what is it right at the end where he goes, he pronounces the name correctly. And Henry's like, what did he say? Rowengartner, you're in.
I love that gag. It's just a little silly stuff, but it's so great. There's so many memorable quotes. It's on the slapstick side of things at times, but I don't think it pushes it too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's in my wheelhouse of comedy. This is how I would describe a movie to do it properly. It goes there where it's wacky, sure, but it doesn't overdo it, if that makes sense. And oh man, yeah, we could jump right into it. We could always come back to the characters, but what do you think of the quotes? I think that's something you got to highlight with this movie.
The quotes I feel like, to me personally, the quotes make this film. The writing is very strong, especially for this premise. It's well done, and the quotes are delivered well with the acting. But what quotes I really liked, I'll just name off 3 real quick. So I really, in my household, we always say, "You're a bum, Steadman." and a little help here, a little help. And then one that I really, if I'm in the right mood, I'll say it, is "Hey, your mom has a pretty good arm. I ain't seen the floater pitch since Kevin McGee."
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I mentioned at the beginning, pitcher's got a big butt. That was like the trash talk years and years after that on the playground. I just remember kids would use it all the time. There's so many. I even love, it's a quote, but it's like, there's the famous where he hits the doctor too, funky butt loving. He's like, did he say funky butt loving? That's a big one. The scene I think of too, it's very subtle. It's just kind of worked in there later on when they're at that party. By this point, Henry's on the team and there's some kind of special party being thrown by a sponsor or whatever. And so it's Daniel Stern's character and Henry's like, you see that? And it's these 2 women and they walk up and he's like, "Excuse me, ladies." And they just kind of, it's like, "Can you move?" And there's a pinball machine right behind them and they go up and play. I mean, it's just great. It's one of those, I love quotes that steer you one way and then go another. There's a lot of that in this film, but there's just, like you mentioned, just those one-liners are so great. I mean, we could almost make that a whole episode because they're very clever. They're just really clever. The scene when he throws the ball back, there was a guy that tried to throw it and he couldn't. And so he's like, "What are you trying to do, kid? Trying to upstage me or whatever?" And so they're like, "Let's get out of here." And there was his friend holding him back. But I made a note of that because I don't know why I chuckled at that. I don't remember it as much, but his friend's like, "He'd kill you." And the guy's like, "Yeah, thanks." Like this kid would take him on. I never caught that growing up. It's just great. But yeah, what's some more thoughts? I mean, there's so much we could dive into about this movie.
It's just really, so the characters are wonderful. The dialogue is wonderful. The plot is funny, but the whole thing mixed together, it just makes for such a special movie. And I feel like this only could be made in the 90s.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And it was just perfect timing. I was young when this came out, so that's saying something.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
But it's just a really special movie to me. I could go on and on forever about it for sure.
It's like a time capsule. Yeah. I mean, there's the scene where he does the Pepsi commercial and it was the Ray Charles, you got the right
I was thinking that earlier.
Yeah. Love it though. Like it's so dated, but I love it. I love that. It's one of those, some things you look at and go, that didn't age well. Maybe it's just me, but I remember those Pepsi commercials. They were everywhere. And to see that again, it's just like, this movie's already nostalgic, but to see that was like, wow, that's just so awesome. But I do have a question for you. So at the very beginning, it's showcasing Henry isn't very good at baseball. And that's another theme I really love is he's gotten this ability. And in the beginning, he loves baseball. He's just not very good at it. But I have a question. What is more embarrassing? The scene where he has the hat over his eyes and he grabs the ball, spins, throws it over the right field fence, or the scene in the Sandlot when Smalls couldn't throw the ball?
Oh, to me, no, hands down, Sandlot would be more embarrassing. If you can't even throw it 10 foot, I mean, that's a problem. You need some help.
I agree. I agree. But I thought about it, I'm like, that's kind of a similar situation. They kind of
Yes.
set it up of,
Yes.
and baseball, of course, I'm going to eat it up. I'm like, I like how they did that. It's a very relatable as a kid because he loves baseball, but he's also nervous. And those types of moments are that's your worst nightmare. Like you're out in the field on an actual game. So as much as it's embarrassing, I hate, seeing that for characters. I liked it because it added to his character. The other question is, did you catch it? After that, he's told to do the laundry. Did you catch a flub that he does?
So, yes, I have caught that by myself, but then I also came through with some research into, so he says that it's a full count. And then he throws it, he goes, strike one.
Normally you're like, that's a flub, but I think it works for his character a little bit.
It does.
Yeah.
And he was all excited. And it worked.
Yeah. Just it again showcased that he loves baseball, but he's just not very good at it. So it kind of added to that character. I just wanted to bring that out because it's really interesting, that progression. And then by the end of the movie, like it looks like he robs a home run. So you've seen he's grown. And going back to that character, Gary Busey, Rocket, that's another character I really like. Kind of going back to characters, he's kind of that mentor to Henry. And at first he's that like grumpy old guy, but I love that character arc. He comes full circle and he realizes, maybe I'm so caught up in myself and I'm so bitter because I'm getting older, I'm getting washed up, but I can teach younger kids. And I think that's the arc. Did you catch that kind of an arc with his character?
I have a question for you. So when he signs the baseball for him, did you almost get kind of like warmed up in your heart a little bit? Like it's like he didn't have to do that, but he did, and it was amazing. That you kind of draw, a little bit, give him some, he grows on you quick.
Yeah, I did. I remember as a kid, and even when I watched it again, it still warms my heart. It's just I love when characters can do that, and it's not a forced change. Sometimes movies do that. This is a progression where he's around him. It's believable. Again, this movie makes a lot of things believable because sometimes you're like, really, like this major league baseball player and this average kid. It's like, no, it makes total sense. They bond and he's supporting him like that father. There's the one scene where they're kind of on rocky terms a little bit. It's that whole point in the plot. But anyway, Henry's on his Game Boy and he's just like, that's going to make you stupid. That moment I took as like, that's a father thing. That's totally a father thing.
Yeah.
So when you're watching it, I just love that progression. It's just very smooth on that character progression. And again, I got to hand it to Gary Busey. He does a great job portraying it. So hats off.
I almost brought that out earlier. I was going to bring that out. I'm glad you did. I'm really glad you did.
Yeah. There's so many moments like that. You could just really dissect this movie on, but I mean, there's one thing I will bring out about what'd you think of John Candy? Because he's also in this, and that screams 80s, 90s as well. But he's kind of in that minor role. I'm interested to get your thoughts on him.
I'm not going to go too deep because it's a fun fact. But John Candy, for those who weren't around in the 90s, was one of the best 90s comedians. And he was in about everything for like 15 years. And I loved his role as the broadcaster. I thought he did an amazing job. He embodied that love for the game and yet hates the job at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool because that's not easy to play. So I really enjoyed his role.
Yeah. I'll admit, I don't know if it's one of my favorite John Candys, but the reason I say that is he's kind of a jerk in that role. I mean, that's the character. And he plays it great. John Candy is just a legend and he plays that well, but I don't know if I liked him in that role, if that makes sense. I kind of wish like he could have been in this movie, but it kind of was like, I don't like him being a jerk. I think that was my problem. I was like, I always loved John Candy as that like fun going and just really nice guy. And he's not like a big jerk. Now, on the flip side, that's Jack, who the mom's
I was
dating.
going to bring him up too. Yeah.
Go for it. What'd you think of Jack?
So as much as it's easy to hate Jack, okay, because he is the king of jerks in this film, there's parts of this movie that he acted really well in. I mean, like, he did some really strong scenes, and it's kind of surprising. It takes you aback. And I was really amazed at his work and thought it was funny. He's a taller guy, and he's driving around in a Miata, and I thought that was hysterical.
I love
Just
that.
really funny. Like, he's always overstepping his boundaries and everything and pushing the limits of what he can say. I don't know. It's something about it. I just felt for him at times because he's trying to do what he shouldn't do, but he doesn't know where to stop. And I felt like, oh no, if he only didn't say that. You know what I mean?
Right. You don't want to hate him, but he does. He just has this kind of like sneakiness to him with the whole
Yeah.
being the manager. And that's what kind of makes him the jerk, because Henry's already like, you're dating this guy. So you can tell he doesn't like him already. And then it's the whole, like, you're going to get 10%. That's from the owner. Then that's like light bulb switch. It's like he turned on the jerk even more. If there was any before, it was like he went full blown by that point. But I agree. He was a good actor where he stares down the mom and Gary Busey Rocket. That's really good. I think that's very, like, you felt that. As much as, he was a jerk, it's like, that is kind of messed up. Like, she's dating him. They didn't break up or anything. So that actually kind of bothered me even as a kid. Like, okay, that'd be one thing if they weren't dating anymore, but it's right there. So that stare was like, that is kind of appropriate, I thought. But he had like the ugliest shirts. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Am I wrong? They were just hideous.
I think 2 people in my family had some of those shirts, so I'm not going to comment.
I'm sorry, but I was just like, oh, these are bad. You need to you need a wardrobe change. Just go to the store, get just something. I don't know why it bugged me so much, but
I think they kind of wanted to make you hate him a little.
yeah.
And I think they kind of gave him real outlandish shirts. That's part of the design team trying to get the like costume and whatever to look like what they want you to picture the person as. And I think they did a good job with it. I think it worked. He was something, that's for sure.
It worked for me, I guess. I don't know why it bugged me so much, but man, they must have studied up on certain design colors that can make you irritated, because it was just like, it was more of like, why are you wearing that? That was more of the irritation of just like, no. And then the smaller car, and he's so tall. That's all those types of things. It's like, it makes you not hate him, but it's just like, yeah.
I liked when he fell out of the car. That was awesome.
He's rushing up to this. Yeah. So he's like jumping out. Oh, it's great. Great.
It was awesome.
There. Oh, but yeah, we could go on and on, but anything else to just add?
I'm dying to know what your kids thought of this film.
Yes. Oh, they love this film. Love it. Going back to Pitcher's Got a Big Butt. They're already doing that. All the quotes, they were just dying laughing. They love Daniel Stern's character.
Yeah.
He has so many, again, the quotes are just great. Hot ice. That's so memorable. I heat up the ice. That's just so, he plays it so well. It's just, I love it. Anytime he's in a scene, I love it. And my kids were no different. Like, any of his scenes, they were dying laughing. He gets stuck in the hotel. One of the times he gets stuck, numerous times, but he's in between those doors. That is a fear I've always had with hotels. Did you always have that, staying in a hotel that was like that?
Yeah, I've been in a lot of hotels that had that little space in between. There's some lines that from that movie that we quote like weekly, and it just comes out. It's not like we've thought about it or anything, and it just I think that there's some movies that have that and some that don't, and this is definitely one that does.
I agree. if it hits on your sense of humor, you're just gonna have a ball with this. That's all I can say. It's great writing, like you said. It's clever. The quotes are just those that's it. You can quote them. You can use them every day. And like we mentioned, we both do that. So can't say enough good things about the writing and the quotes with it. All right. Well, I'm very interested to hear what kind of fun facts do you have for this film?
There's one I'm sure you're going to laugh at. But the first one, like you mentioned, this was the only film directed by Daniel Stern. Now, that should be noted because he's done a lot of TV directing. A lot. I actually researched it. He's done a lot of TV directing, several episodes of shows. And this is his only movie. And I'm shocked how good it was that it's its only movie that he directed.
I can't get over that either.
Yeah.
It was great. Like, I don't know if he just didn't like it or he just was like, I'm good. I mean, either way, I'd rather, I guess if you do have the whole like go out on top, like I did good. I'm good with it. But yeah, I've always thought that, like, why is this his only movie? He's had the TV shows, like you said, but yeah, that's still gonna be a what if question for me. Yeah.
And then like on top of that, many people know him as the voice of Wonder Years. So, I mean, he's quite notable, and just to like you said, just to stop at one it don't make any sense is what I'm trying to say. The next one I've got is what also you mentioned is John Candy. He was uncredited in this role as the radio broadcaster. So he actually didn't get a credit, which I don't remember if that was like by choice. No, I remember now. It's because somehow when he signed up for it, it was like already said and done or something. Then they didn't have time to deal with the credit or whatever. It's kind of weird. It was a little bit weird. The next one, oh, sorry, if you had something to say.
I was just going to add that might be why I'm not knocking him being in this role because I thought he was great, but I thought it just was not his character. But maybe, like you said, I think he was a last minute ad. They had that character and it was like, and from what I remember, this was years ago, like Daniel Stern personally called him up like, hey, can you do this as a favor? Seemed like John Candy was just a cool guy. He just did a lot of favors for people. I think that's what it was. And so it was kind of a last minute fill. He still did a terrific job. Like, I'm not going to knock John Candy at all. I go back to, I hate seeing him as kind of that jerk a little bit. So, but that's still an interesting fact. Yeah, he didn't get credited for that. So it's interesting.
I've got a couple more fun facts, but I wanted to throw in there too real quick. This is a Chicago movie. So a lot of the actors you see are Chicago actors. And I think that's really special. I really enjoy that. His mother is a big Chicago actress. She's done a lot of stuff throughout the years that I've really enjoyed. And I just think that's really cool that they stuck with mainly Chicago people to do the film. I thought that was really cool.
I appreciate that too. It's really cool to see it, those little facts of like, yeah, they're in the Chicago area. And it works because they're probably Cubs fans or maybe White Sox fans. You don't want to tell Cubs fans that they hate White Sox. We'll say they're all Cubs fans. Yeah.
And I got one more to add too, besides the regular ones that I've got written down. His Daniel Stern's son at one time was planned to be the main character. And his name is Henry.
It's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So at one point he was supposed to star as the main character, but then they went ahead and went with, did you say his name is Nicholas something?
Yeah, it's like Nicholas's last name, Thomas Ian Nicholas. That's what I see on the credits. So yeah, that's interesting. That's really cool.
No,
yeah.
I'll go back to my noted fun facts. So Gary Busey was clean shaven during the production. The mustache seen in the movie was a fake.
He's an imposter. Come on now. Come on.
I knew I'd get a laugh out of you on that one.
Oh, great.
Chet Rocket Steadman is based on the popular Major League Baseball player Roger Clemens, whose nickname was Rocket.
Yeah. I always wondered that because if you grew up watching baseball, you knew Roger Clemens. And
he was a hothead. Well, he was a hothead.
Oh, yeah.
I saw quite a few games where he went off.
Yep. That's what he's kind of notorious for. And, that's a whole other debate, but there's the whole scandal with steroids. Gary Busey kind of is like a non-roided out Roger Clemens, just kept the temper. That's how I look at it.
So it's time for our fun fact trivia question.
Hmm.
I got high hopes for you on this one.
I got my thinking cap on. Let's see.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
So I hope this question makes sense. I tried to word it in a way that made sense. It's hard for me to get this one. One of the cameos where Henry strikes out real major leaguers and is my all-time favorite player. Which one is it? A, Bobby Bonilla, B, Barry Bonds, or C, Pedro Guerrero?
Interesting. So who's your favorite? That's what I gathered from that, because it is clearly Barry Bonds. That's my answer. Please tell me.
I was worried it'd be too easy for you.
That's okay. Bobby Bonilla was a good, yeah. I would think, I just didn't know he was your favorite. I mean, yeah, he's a legend.
I think I got to see Barry Bonds play twice in person.
Very nice.
And when I was young, there was only a handful of players that really stuck out to me. And I couldn't get over the fact that he had 7 gold gloves and he stole over 500 bases. You could take out the home runs.
Yeah.
And if you put 7 gold gloves and over 500 stolen bases, that's ridiculous.
He was fun. You had him.
Fun to watch. To watch. Yeah. And I think that he was walked more than any other player. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure he was.
At least in a season, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a career too, because when he was on a tear there in the 2000s, for sure. But before that, I think that's what people miss is we were kind of spoiled. You had him and King Griffey Jr., kind of these like all around. Yeah, they hit home runs, but it wasn't until later Barry Bonds was more of like, oh, he hits home runs. It's like, no, he could steal bases. He was a great defensive player. So
his arm was crazy.
Yeah.
I saw him throw out some players at home. That was nuts.
Yeah. You could tell me.
Right, so you got that one. So good job.
Yeah, I got excited talking baseball here, but it was like, yes, I got that right. Yes, I love that you brought that as a fun fact, because we forgot to touch on that, because I love his expression. It's in slow motion. It's just like kind of face. I love that. Yeah, it's so good. It's
okay. Oh yeah, we had to do that one. Okay,
had to. I love it. Great. Thank you for helping me out. I appreciate that. But I'm not on the losing streak. I can start a winning streak now. So
there you go.
All right. So there's the fun facts. But before we get to our ratings, reviews, we like to look around the net. So let's see what we got. Seth, what kind of reviews you seen out there?
All right. Snoopy Style says, wholesome family fun, 6 out of 10.
All right. So a solid rating there. Again, I'll go back to this has its cheesy moment, so it might not be for everybody, but I think you got to have some fun with this one. So I could see that.
Bison 5186 said, cute, funny, 7 out of 10.
All right. That's a good 7 out of 10. I will just, I don't know what it is. It's like I'm maybe that's a pet peeve I have. Just get the 7 out of 10 right, but they did good. So give you my
and lastly, Robert Altman said, hilarious movie, 8 out of 10.
Right. Nice little progression there, 8 out of 10. So solid ratings across the board, but let's get to what matters on this occasion, our reviews. So I have to ask you, Seth, when it comes to the movie Rookie of the Year, how are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to leave it at grandma's? Are you going to hide it in the attic?
So I'd like to say, as a quick overview, it's a different concept than I've seen. So it was very clever. The acting is delivered well, but the script and directing shine bright in this movie, which is equally fun and hilarious. So I'd have to take this home. For me, it's one of the best classics we've discussed.
I'm with you. No surprises there. I mean, this is a take it home. I can watch this anytime. Like I mentioned, my kids loved it. They were just laughing. They just had a great time. And, the end, we talk so much about the comedy and kind of the silly moments. There's some good, like, drama in this movie, too. As much as there's some cheesy, I'll say that, like, okay, that was kind of I wouldn't say like a cringe moment, but it's just cheesy. But the end sequence of Chet throwing his arm out and it's suspenseful and they have to win. I just think that going back to, like you said, the directing by Daniel Stern, I just can't heap enough praise on him. Like, man, this was so well done, because my kids were into that. They were like, oh, it's serious and very dramatic. It's since now become a meme, but I love that part too, where he's just like, I'm taking you out. And he's just one. That's just great, as much as it's a meme. And that's what my kids do to me when they want a snack. I'm like, I'm cutting you off. And they're just like, one more. All right, one more. But yeah, this is just a great, I can't say enough. I love this movie. It's got some, like I said, cheesy moments, but other than that, I mean, maybe we'll kind of get to it in Granny's rating. Maybe some things that they're more on the suggestive side, but it doesn't push it. I don't think it's too out there. So, but speaking of, let's go ahead and get Grandma's rating. So, what is Granny's family-friendly rating?
Granny's family-friendly rating is a B- for some crude humor.
Yeah. So that's the only concern. Again, I don't know if it pushes it too much, but it's just very suggestive. There's a lot of, there might be some cussing and stuff, things like that. I think that was just the format of the 90s too.
Yes, very much so.
So, but for the most part, just a little caution advised, but nothing I don't think is going to make you shocked. Nothing. Grandma might gasp a little bit at times, but nothing.
Throw her popcorn.
Yeah. That's what my grandma would do. She just, she'd have this like gasp. So maybe there'll be a couple on there, but nothing to be too worked up about. So, well, there it is. We covered it. I think we could have gone on, especially with our baseball knowledge and everything. We're about to make this a baseball podcast there, but I love it. I love talking about this. This was a great one. But before we wrap things up, Seth, why don't you tell everyone where they can connect and find us on our social platforms?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. And we have a newsletter, so keep up to date with all things Movies at Grandma's House. We're on Patreon, so check us out, become a member, and go to movieposters.com and type in Grandma's House 15 at checkout for 15% off.
There you go. Yeah, be sure you're subscribed also to our newsletter. We have some exciting news coming out. We want to kind of keep that secret, and you're probably going to hear it first coming from the newsletter. That's kind of where we're getting our news, because we're growing, and it's a big thank you to you guys on our social. We're growing a lot on there. A lot of people connecting with us. So thank you so much. Big shout out to you guys in that way. I also wanted to give a quick highlight to friend of mine. I've known him for many years. He wrote his own children's book called Soulmates. His name is Damon Mosley. So check out this book. He's in Target. I thought that was so cool that he was in Target. That was a goal that he had, was to get this book. You can go pick it up physically in a Target. So go check it out. You can also order off of his website, Soulmates, but it's a really fun book. It's a great kids book if you want to share that with the kiddos. So that'll do it for now. That's our time at Grandma's, but we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.